morning, WDWA and Wrestle Talk podcast family. It is time once again for elevation. Oh my goodness. And yes, you don't see my either of my normal co-hosts with me. You know, Gavin is a little busy tonight. He can't make it. And Donnie, he's been sitting in with me since Gavin's been unable to make it. And unfortunately, Donnie's a little under the weather. So I don't have either of them with me tonight. But that's okay. You know, thoughts and prayers with Donnie. Hope you get better. But tonight, I have a special co-host lined up, ladies and gentlemen, because tonight we are going to talk later on about the all women's show coming up. And let me tell you something. How could we have an all women's show and talk about an all women's show without a woman's perspective? You know, that would be hard to do. So, my co-host tonight is Wrestle Talk Podcast's very own, the WTP official women's wrestling expert analyst, the one and only Miss Bad Susie Haas. How you doing tonight?
Hi, yo. How are you? I'm great. Little brother, how are you?
Hey, doing good. You know, thanks for being here tonight. You know, just looking forwards to another great show. You know, we have the one and
Hey,
only Tiphani
it's always a
Grady.
pleasure to help fill out where I can.
So we definitely appreciate it. But, you know, tonight we got the one and only Tiphani Grady going to be in the house tonight. She has been our women's champion for 360 days, almost 1 year. And, you know, 364 days ago, 1 day from a year, she was on this very program talking to us. And, you know, she was talking then about her match that was coming up against Amara Void, who was our women's champion at the time. And so now she's talking to us as the women's champion. Of course, once again, we'll be discussing Amara Void. But, you know, that's later on tonight. Also, later on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, when we really get into all the matches that are coming up, we will be talking during the fans weigh-in. Be sure to drop some messages in there. Let me see you guys, because if you want to be our fan for the fans weigh-in, let's go ahead, get the messages going so that I know you want to be our fan. And, you know, I'll be hitting somebody up and bringing you on, and you can
Who
you can
doesn't
put
want
your
to come
picks
on
with,
and talk to me?
yeah, they'll be able to put their picks right against mine and Susie's picks. And hey, last show we had Andrew on again as our fan, and you know, Andrew picked 6 right, who he actually tied with myself, who had 6 right. And of course, you know, my normal co-host Dashing Donnie Diablo brought up the rear with only 4, you know. So hey, Donnie's picking up right where Gavin left off, I tell you. But, you know, when we talk about the great show that we've got lined up, you
Hey,
know,
Danica.
because we always have the great show lined up for you, we can't help but talk about Salute to the Fallen. You know, absolute great show all the way around from beginning to end. A few new questions have arisen since that show, and a few questions have been answered since that show. You know, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Are you ready to talk about some salute to the fallen?
Let's go. It was a real good show. And if you missed it, sorry for your luck.
Well, you can see there on the screen we have our results there. You know, of course, as always, that's just a brief overview of what happened, but we're going to go a little more into detail here. So, our very first match of the night, it was that light heavyweight championship match where we saw Miles Millennium return to WDWA. Um, I believe he's been there 3 times now, is what he confirmed. And he faced our light heavyweight champion, Chulo Montana. You know, great show, great match, honestly. And as we know, Chulo Montana did come out on top on that match, but not to take anything away from Miles Millennium at all, because Miles was a very worthy opponent and a lot of action in that match. And, Miles showed why he should have been an opponent in that match, but just came up a little short in the end. What was your thoughts on this matchup, Susie? I mean, we know how you feel about Chulo, but
Well, I mean, I've always said that Miles makes my millennium. I mean, he is awesome. I love Miles Millennium. He is just awesome in every way. And I was sad that he didn't win. Um, but I will say, for once, I can honestly say it seemed like a clean cut win. So, I won't say Chulo has no talent, because Chulo does have a lot of talent. The only problem with Chulo that I find is his arrogance, but I guess that's just what it is. But I really hope that we will see more of Miles in the future, and maybe the next time Miles faces Chulo, he will walk out the champion. I hope.
yeah, definitely. And Melissa, we have to agree with you. It was an awesome show, from beginning to end. And so we absolutely have to agree with you on that one. So, all right. So our next matchup here is going to be, we got to see a debut, another student from the WDWA Wrestling Academy, Levi Mortalis. And, he faced Dance Lucha Libre. Now, we have not seen Lucha Libre around in a little while. It was great to see Dance back. Man's got a name so nice, you got to say it twice. But, great to see him come back. It was, it was really a good match overall, I think, Um, but Levi Mortalis was able to come out with a victory in the end. And wow, just another great debut from the WDWA Wrestling Academy. And, I can't wait to see more out of Levi Mortalis. I don't know who is going to be able to step up against Levi and be successful, because anybody who tries, I think they are going to have a challenge ahead of them. So, you know, I just look forward to it. What was your thoughts on that match and the debut of Levi Mortalis?
Well, I've always been a big fan of Dance Dance. I've always thought Dance Dance was really cool. Love to watch him dance. Love to watch him do his thing in the ring. But I gotta say, I was very impressed with Levi. Um, he was a no nonsense kind of guy. He didn't take a whole lot of, crap. He didn't showboat a lot. He went in there, he had business at hand. He knew what he wanted to do, and he went in there and did it. And that was that. And, he's a very matter of fact wrestler. I think that we're going to see good things from Levi. Um, and maybe, again, sometime soon we'll see Dance Dance, and maybe he'll be a little more successful. But, much love to you, Dance. But Levi, I got to give it to you, man. You
Well,
had an impressive debut.
I don't know. I don't know if you'll see Levi see Dance Dance again because Levi he absolutely murdered Dance Dance. I mean, um,
Yeah,
and that finishing move when he pulled that off, I just wow, it was something.
yeah. I
And
think Dance
you know,
Dance turned into a bobblehead by the end of the match.
so it's debatable on Dance. I mean, I haven't heard he ended up getting carried to the back. I haven't heard anything since then, and so it remains to be seen. But just a
One
great
thing though we
debut.
did learn, one thing we did learn at that show for anybody who's still out there and didn't know, um, we already have a clearing for Bo Ross. So at the next regular show, maybe we'll see Mr. Ross back in the ring.
Never know. I mean, he said he will be back. Just you don't know when.
Right.
But
So
he
maybe
has
Mr.
been cleared.
Levi should keep an eye open. Because who knows? Maybe Mr. Ross will come in and maybe he can show Mr. Levi a thing or two.
So, um, but one thing I do want to say is before the match started, uh, you know, when Levi came out, Levi walked over to the announce table and he looked at Dashing Donnie Diablo and he told him, I'm going to prove you wrong because Donnie didn't pick him. And so basically, he made it clear that what he was going to do was Donnie's fault. So, you know, um, it, it's kind of funny because I was blamed for Grimm getting put through the table. I was told that was my fault because I wouldn't say Tyler Hastings was the guy with the supply, but because Donnie
Supply
didn't
of what?
pick, I
Tyler,
don't know.
if you're watching, can you please tell me what it is you have a supply of? I always hear the guy with the supply. Now, when Tyler Hastings was on the good side of things, he had a supply of talent. He had a supply of just everything he needed to be a good wrestler. But now that he's Tyler Hastings, don't give me that supply stuff. You ain't got nothing.
Well, and see, I that's what I've said. I wouldn't say Tyler Hastings was the guy with the supply because that was Ty Awesome, not Tyler Hastings. But
And Ty
hey,
was awesome.
it is what it is. But so the murder of Dance Lucha is on the hands of Donnie Diablo. It's all your fault, Donnie. We're putting it on you. So, but then we went into some women's action where we saw Sis Sasaki versus Gabby Gilbert. Now, this match here, this whole feud has been building. I mean, um, we saw him in the Rumble, the Women's Rumble, at the last All Women's show. Gabby Gilbert was the one that eliminated Sis Sasaki. Um, then we saw them in a tag match, and we saw the bad blood between Sis Sasaki and Gabby Gilbert in a tag match. Um, and we all saw how that went. So now we've upped it to this. And this was another great matchup. It wasn't a landslide on either side by any means. But in the end, Sasaki came out victorious. But then once Sasaki won, you know, Gabby was not happy. And so Gabby decided she was going
Well,
to,
losing is never happy.
she was going to beat down Sasaki. And so we saw the attack once again by Gabby to Sasaki. And so I'm sure we haven't seen the last of that. Um, but prior to the sore losing, it was a great match by both ladies, and just I know this isn't over, and I just can't wait to see what comes next, because Sasaki's not going to take this laying down, and we know in WDWA everything just keeps getting amped up higher and higher. So we know this is going to be something to watch.
I got to tell you, sis is my girl. And sis, if you're watching, much love. I love Sasaki. She is awesome. And anybody out there who doesn't know, sis has been through a lot. In her private personal life, she's had some health issues, and she's been through a lot. But when she came back stronger than ever. She gets in that ring and she just gives it her all. And, I don't care who you are, if you're a good person, a bad person, a heel, a face, whatever you are, if you don't have some respect to some degree for Sasaki, then you need to get on out of here. And that's just that. And if you don't respect her, then in a match, she's going to beat it in you. And that's just that. As for Gabby, well, she's a little weird, but it's okay, I guess. I mean, to each their own, right?
Well, she hails from the dark side of the rainbow. So I mean, I didn't know the rainbow had a dark side, honestly, but evidently she's found it. But so after that matchup,
Okay.
we went into a matchup where we saw Jacob Favor against Joey Martinez. Another great matchup. And, I believe this was Jacob's first match in WDWA. And I guarantee you it's not going to be his last, because he was very talented. Um, but, both men were back and forth. They both were able um, to get over on each other at some point. And just a lot of good back and forth, a lot of pinning attempts. We saw several times that one would try to pin the other, and they'd kick out. So, both of them very resilient, both of them very talented, and just a great match. And, Joey Martinez came out victorious in this one, though. And, but like I say, not the last we're going to see of Jacob Favor.
That's good. I mean, I liked both those guys. Those guys were very good. Um, Mr. Martinez could be a little hot-headed, but he was pretty cool. I mean, it was a good match. It was a great wrestling match. I mean, and that's basically what it was. It was a wrestling match. It wasn't a slobber knocker, and that was kind of cool. It's always cool sometimes to see just an everyday match once in a while. And those two guys put on a real good show.
So, yeah, definitely. And, then we went into some women's championship action, with our guest here tonight, Tiphani Grady versus Liberty L. This match, it was It was another great matchup. And, we did see a lot of offense out of Liberty L, but in the end, Tiphani Grady did come out victorious. Now, in this matchup, no matter what anybody wants to say, I know there's a lot of questions on some of the matches. Did Tiff really win? Or, did Jason Curtis cause the other person to lose? You know, what can she do without Jason Curtis? And in this matchup, Tiphani won hands down clean. Um, no interference from Jason Curtis. And Sage Santiago was not even present.
Were you watching the same match I was? Were you watching the same match I was? Jason did interfere. Now, when it came to the actual pin, yes, Tiphani got the pin, and it seemed like it was fair and square. There's one thing, and of course she's coming on soon, and I know she's in the back, and she's probably listening, so I have no problem saying this. I would have a lot more respect for Tiphani if Tiphani did it on her own. But the problem is, every time she comes to the ring and Jason's with her, he interferes. Jason takes pot shots here, takes pot shots there, and Tiphani gets the win eventually because of Jason. Now, I think that Tiphani is a great wrestler. She's a good wrestler. She's great. But I think if she did it on her own, I personally would have a lot more respect for her, and she probably doesn't care. But that's just the way it is. I ain't going to lie. I'm a huge Liberty L fan. Liberty and I are pals. We're buddies. I love Liberty. And Liberty, if you're watching. But, it just, and would I have liked to have seen her walked out with the title? Kind of, yeah, kind of no. I mean, I really am looking forward to Tiffany's next opponent. And, I'm looking forward to that match. But, Tiphani would be, in my eyes, a better champion if she did it on her own. But there have been matches where she didn't win it on her own. And personally, I wouldn't mind stepping in the ring myself a few times with Jason Curtis.
So, I'm definitely, I definitely did enjoy the matchup though. And so I'm looking forward to talking to Tiphani here in a bit. And, you mentioned that she is in the back and you sure she was listening. I'm sure even if she wasn't in the back, she'd be listening, because I can't tell you how many times I've said something or Donnie said something or, Gavin said something, and next thing you know, there's a comment there from Tiphani. So Tiffany's always watching, whether she's in the back or not. And Donnie wants to know if you're trying to get Jason fired again. So
No, not trying to get him fired. Just want him to be a man and quit being a woman beater.
But
if he
after
wants to
that
beat on a
matchup,
woman, come beat on me. Let's try it.
after that matchup, we went into matchup where we saw Javari Wolf first versus Tyler Hastings. And there again, this was another good match. Tyler Hastings, he can be a very aggressive wrestler ever since this new Tyler Hastings has come out. He wasn't quite so aggressive as Ty Awesome, but as Tyler Hastings, he is quite aggressive. But no matter how you look at it, in the end, Javari Wolf came out with the victory over Tyler Hastings. He hit with a spear to finish it off, and he was able to get that 1-2-3. After the matchup, though, Tyler Hastings was not happy, because before the matchup, he apparently wanted to say something.
And you know what? I lost a lot of respect for Tyler that night. Any respect I had for him kind of went out the window when he attacked Luke. Our ring announcer Luke got attacked after that match. He went in there and demolished. And I mean, there's only one way to say it. He demolished Luke. And it was totally uncalled for, completely unfair. And really, Tyler, is it that the only person you can beat up anymore is the damn ring announcer? You can't beat up a regular wrestler, so you got to beat up on the poor ring announcer? Let's be real, dude. I mean, it just, you're the guy with a supply of bullshit. That's all you are. Sorry, but that's the way I feel.
But yeah, as she said, before the matchup, Tyler evidently had something he wanted to say. I don't know. I know he reached for the microphone. He went to take it from Luke. He didn't ask for it. He just tried to grab it. And Luke snatched it back and was like, get off. And then, after Luke announced that Tyler had lost the match, you know, Tyler just, I don't know if he snapped or what, but, he ended up pretty much choking Luke out. And, Luke had to be helped out. And I believe he may have sought medical attention. I didn't see him in the back when things were over. So I'm not sure how Luke is. I haven't seen anything of him online, which is quite unusual. He's normally posting and stuff, but I haven't seen him post anything. I haven't heard anything from him. So, hopefully Luke is okay. But I guess we will see moving forwards. But then after that, we went into another matchup where, we were talking about Jason Curtis. Well, Jason Curtis versus Scarlett Maiden. Scarlett had asked for this matchup. Jason Curtis caused her to lose, and she wanted her revenge. And so she asked for the matchup. She got it. At one point, it looked like Jason might win this thing very handily. And Scarlett may have been a little bit crazy for asking for this matchup. But in the end, it came out that Scarlett won this match. And, it was just another great matchup.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget our special referee for that match. It was an awesome to see the special referee step in the ring. And believe me, if anybody can keep Jason Curtis straight, Doug Rafferty could do it, and he did it.
Yeah, that's right. Doug did come out as special referee. He tried to keep Jason in line. At one point, Jason cut off the turnbuckle and exposed it. There was no padding on it. He exposed it. He tried to slam Scarlett into it, and but fortunately, Scarlett was able to block a few times, and it's just it was a great matchup though, despite the things that Jason did underhanded like that. But in the end, Scarlett did get her revenge and won. So
Donnie, really? You're gonna pick on poor Luke too? Come on, I thought you were better than that too.
But then after that, we saw a surprise of the night, in my opinion. We went into 6-man tag action. We had Y Keys, Zakar Shaw, and Clay Jacobs versus Money and Power. And, this matchup, I thought it was going to be a great matchup, which for the most part it was. Um, but I also, I thought for sure Zakar and Clay and Y Keys, they would come out victorious, you know, but honestly, a
They
lot of
should have
time
decimated Money and Power.
they honestly didn't completely seem on the same page all the time. And in the end, we saw Clay turn on Zakar. And, after that, it was just pandemonium, and I, I don't even know what to say. I mean, Clay ended up busted
Money and
open.
Power came Money and Power came out with a win. And John, do we have the promo that Clay made right after the match?
I was going to say right after the
Do
match,
we by chance
we
have that?
we did see a promo by Clay, and I do happen to have that. Where Clay is going to try to explain a few things to the fans if you haven't seen it already.
It's time. It's always been time. It's always been time! Fuck these fans. They've done nothing to help me. All they want is violence, so guess what I'm giving them? Violence. You wanted bloodshed, then fine. Everyone is going to bleed. Fuck you, Zakar, and fuck everybody else. It is my time. I am the apocalypse of wrestling. And me. You pushed me. You pushed me over the edge. All of you. And now look. Look! Look! It's over for everyone.
Wow, a side of Clay Jacobs we have not seen in a long time. I mean, uh, Clay seems completely unhinged, and I just don't know. I think WDWA is in for a heck of a wake up call with this Clay Jacobs, and I don't even know what to expect out of him right now. You know, anybody who faces him might want to be scared.
I've always been a Clay fan. When he was cousin Clay, I loved him and adored him. When he became Clay Jacobs, I was still a huge fan. There's a part of me that is still kind of holding on, but slightly my heart was broken when I saw that video. It really broke when I saw him covered in blood, and I was just like, oh no, not Clay, and I'm just like, I don't know right now what to think about where Clay stands. And, as a fan who he basically said, you too, I'm just like, how do I feel now? I've always loved and adored Clay, but to see him turn the way he did, to see him go off the way he did, part of me is hoping that maybe, just maybe, he'll come back next show, and he will maybe have had time to think about everything and calm down a bit and maybe even issue an apology to the fans or whatever. But if not, and if he becomes this scary beast, then all I can say to everyone that he faces going forward, I don't care who you are, you have a problem. And whether it's the fans or the wrestlers, there is a problem now in the WDWA. And that problem is by the name of Clay Jacobs. And I wouldn't want to be on his bad side. And yet, I'm not real sure how to feel right now about how he reacted last Saturday. It broke my heart. But
Yeah. And
you know,
Danica
Clay
says
has to be.
Clay scared her years ago, and this is the same Clay that used to make her nervous. So, I don't know. Um, I don't even know what to say about him right now. But there's an idea floating around by Donnie. Let's send Clay to get Axel back from Legion. You know, um, I'd hate to be Legion if that happened. But real quick, since Donnie brought it up, we haven't seen Axel since Legion carried him out. So real quick before we get to the main event and then get to our guests, because I do want to be respectful.
All of the happiness in the world, and yet you still choose to paint on a smile. Let this be a lesson to cherish what you have and smile in the face of adversity. Because you never know when it gets stripped away. I admire you, Axel, but the fact remains. Legion doesn't forget. Legion doesn't forgive. Legion transforms. Enjoy your stay.
So, since Axel was brought up, I thought I'd throw that out there. I
I
don't
don't want to be
know what
Legion.
I don't know what to say about that either. I still don't know where Axel is. I don't know what that means other than Legion thinks they've won. And the only other thing I know from that video is by the chime at the end that they're holding him at a 7-Eleven. But
Though I have been a fan of Axel since the day I saw him. And I first saw him, I should say. There is one thing that I will say. He is the leader of the Carnival of Souls. And I was sitting ringside one night when Axel was in a match and Dex came out there and he asked Dex, he said, "What do you want?" And Dex said, "Your soul." And Axel looked at him and said, "I don't have a soul." So, it doesn't matter how much Dex and the group torture him. There's no soul for him to get. He's the leader of the Carnival of Souls. And in the end, I can see him taking all the souls that Dex has collected and putting them in the carnival before I ever see them taking Axel. Axel may be down right this minute, but he'll come back. And when he gets back, when he is back to being the Axel we all know, Dex, Wraith, and that other one, you're going to need more recruits. You're going to need a lot more recruits because not just the Carnival of Souls is going to be after you, but the fans. Fans are going to be behind Axel all the way. And all they need to do is just be behind him. All the souls of the fans willing him on. And Axel's going to come out on top. And I just know he will.
So, all right. So real quick, then let's get to this main event that we had, and so we can get to our special guest. I'm sure I'm going to catch a lot of crap for keeping her waiting, and I want to be respectful of her time. But we had the main event. We saw match 2 of 3. Salute to the Fallen's dog collar match where we saw Ranch Hand Carlson versus Jamie Hall. This was another awesome match. The match did get quite bloody. At one point I wasn't sure if the blood was left over from Clay or if it was, their blood, but then it became very apparent that it was theirs. Um, and but in the end, we saw Ranch Hand Carlson come out victorious. So the now stands at 1-1. But not only did Ranch Hand come out victorious, Ranch Hand used that chain. He wrapped it around Jamie Hall's face. He put it in his mouth and was pulling. And Jamie Hall ended up tapping out. The first person ever to make Jamie Hall submit in WDWA, Ranch Hand Carlson. The first person ever to make Jamie Hall get counted 3 on was Y Keys. So 2 victories, one by pinfall by Y Keys, and now Ranch Hand has gotten a victory over Jamie Hall with a submission. So 2 losses on part of Jamie Hall, and wow, what a way to do it. I couldn't believe when Jamie Hall tapped. I was shocked enough when he got pinned, but to see him submit was something.
And the funny thing is, Ranch Hand brought up the match with the lumberjack match with the fans as the lumberjack, and Jamie Hall won it. Ranch Hand's match, Jamie Hall won. Jamie Hall comes up with this match, and Ranch Hand wins it. So the next one is, I believe, an Iron Man match. And I'm not sure if that was Ranch Hand's thing or Jamie's, but whichever one of them picked it, I'm just like, you're 1-1, and we're going to that third match to determine the winner of the best of 3 series for the title. And Ranch Hand just showed the other night that he wanted it more than Jamie did. And the first match, Jamie wanted it more than Ranch Hand. So it's going to be very interesting in this next match between them two to see who comes out on top.
So, but if you missed any of this great action, don't worry. We did miss you there, and you should always try to make the shows because you never know what you're going to miss. But be sure to check out the replay. Even if you were there, check it out, because you never know what Juan caught in the back or what interviews Juan may have with people. So be sure to check out Frontline, ladies and gentlemen. Juan puts a lot of work into it. It's a great production. You will hear myself, Dashing Donnie Diablo. From time to time, we're joined by Steve Netz, when he can make it in. Or you never know who you might have on broadcast with me. I've had Y Keys on broadcast. I have had many of them on broadcast. Jamie Hall has joined on broadcast a few times. I believe it was the last women's show. I did with Money and Power's very own leader, so who knows who's going to be on broadcast from time to time. So be sure to tune in to Frontline, and let me go ahead and
step into the big earn your stripes in the big the crowd is jumping, the crowd is loud, everybody's rowdy all around the WDWA.
And that is Frontline every Thursday night, 8 p.m. YouTube.com/Wild Patriot 22. Like I say, Juan puts a lot of work into that. It's an awesome, absolute awesome production. He does a great job. So be sure to check it out. We thank Juan for all the contributions that he makes. And so, I mean, even the footage that we showed tonight of Clay, that's something that Juan was able to capture. So thank you, Juan, for everything you do. We greatly appreciate you. But speaking of people we greatly appreciate, I do have to get to our women's champion who is waiting backstage. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you will please welcome our women's champion that has held the title for 360 days, the one and only Tiphani Grady.
This
I,
is
I
not the
know,
time we
Tiff.
agreed on. This is not the time we agreed on.
I, I do apologize, but hopefully I made up a little bit in some of the intro. I mean, I know I'm not Sage Santiago, but hopefully
She'll
I
be
did
back
okay.
next month, so it's okay. It's okay. She's
But
learned her lesson. She behaved. She's fine. She apologized.
well, that's good to hear. But so thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate it. So as we said, you have held the women's championship for 360 days now. When you step back in the ring, it'll be more than that. So
To be
far,
exact, 371 at that point.
so what has been the biggest challenge of staying on top for an entire year?
There hasn't been one. That's why I still have the belt. What are you talking about? The only thing that gets annoying is that clearly I got to still deal with Amara, and then I got Scarlet. It just gets annoying after a while. I've already beat them both. Just go home.
All right. So, you mentioned Amara, you mentioned Scarlet. So, out of those, which one of your defenses, well, it doesn't even have to be out of those two, out of all the title defenses you've had over the past year, which one of your title defenses are you the most proud of over the past year? You know,
So I will have to say it was when I defended my belt against Sasaki at Berkeley Mania.
okay, so not that I don't disagree. I mean, not that I do disagree with you because, I think Sasaki's a great competitor and she always puts everything into her matches. But why would
She
that one
does.
be the one you're most proud of?
Um, it's not just more proud, I would say. There was more meaning behind mine and her match altogether. There's a little bit of a past with me and her, and that match was a little more meaningful.
All right. So, obviously, um, I know that you feel, and I can't say that you're wrong on this, but I know you feel you have surpassed all other women in the WDWA, with as long as you have held this title and everything. So, you know, is there anything left for you to prove?
I'm gonna call her out since we're on this. Your past WDWA Women's Champion, Zoe Cannon. I would love for her to come back so I can prove to her who exactly runs WDWA. So there is still no questions because it seems like no matter how many women come in the door and I knock them all down, you guys keep questioning me.
Well, isn't it true that you are the current longest reigning women's champion of the WDWA?
Yes, I am. I am actually going to be walking into my third all women's show as champion. Well, walking out as third. Because I know I'm
Well,
going home with my
win
title.
or
So
lose,
I'm going home with my
win or
title.
lose.
There's no question.
Well, win or lose, you're still going to be the longest reigning champion.
That is very true.
So, as long as you have held this championship and everything,
Mhm.
and this the level of consistency that you had, what is the secret to you maintaining this championship other than Jason Curtis? What is the secret to it?
I am your temptatious one. What do you mean? Every one of these ladies clearly has not done what I do. I am always in the gym. I am always looking at what my opponents are capable of. It's the little details of everything that I do. That's what makes me your women's champion. That's what makes me the best women's champion. And not just the best women's champion, I'm the best champion, period, at WDWA. Name a man that's held the title as long as what I've held my title.
Well, I know there's
Well,
been
now,
some that have held
in
the
your
title for
career
a
as a
while.
whole,
Guys,
Go
I
ahead.
talk all at once.
in your career as a whole, where would you say this title reign? In your career as a whole,
She cut out. I didn't hear her.
You're having issues there.
Just a
I
little
mean,
bit.
is this the highlight of your career, or
Is
okay?
just
I was saying,
this the
as
highlight?
your career in general, where does
Mm.
this rank in your career as this title reign? Yeah.
Mm. As of right now, this is the longest title I've held.
Is this
I
one
have
of the
five
highlights of your
titles.
other?
I've had highlights in all of the titles I've defended, but WDWA's title holds a special place in my heart because of how hard I had to work to get this title in my possession.
So you talk about how hard you worked to get that title, and I don't deny that you didn't work hard to get the title. So, don't get me wrong on that. But there are many fans who debate your win over Amara Void. A
That's
lot
funny
of
because
them.
that was a very clean win, as you could see in all the footage.
So, what do you say to those who claim the victory was controversial, or that you know you couldn't do it without Jason Curtis? What do you say to those people?
When I walk out in another, what, week maybe, still your women's champion, are you still going to question it? Because I'm not sure why you question my win over Amara, because I didn't just beat Amara, I beat Liberty as well. And just like I put Liberty down when we faced each other one on one, I plan on doing the same to the alpha female, Amara.
So, was there ever a moment during that match you thought Amara might retain her championship that night?
No, I told you exactly what it was. I put it all on the line. I put my whole WDWA career on the line to walk out with this title. And if I wasn't confident enough to do that, I wouldn't have done that.
So, to the people who think that you couldn't hold this title this long, or that you couldn't have won the title without Jason Curtis, do you take
I
motivation from
absolutely
that?
love that anybody wants to say that because I won my title without Jason in my corner. That triple threat match, I did not have Sage in my corner. I did not have Jason in my corner. I did that all by myself. So anybody who questions that, continue to buy a ticket and pay my rate, please.
So, I take it then that does give you motivation.
Which part?
the whole thing about Jason Curtis, and you couldn't win without him. Period. You
Jason
know,
is an accessory to who I am, just like Sage. I don't need Sage, nor do I need Jason, and they are both very aware of who is in charge.
all right. So you know,
Tell them to stay behind while you go out.
Sage barely does anything. She stands there holding my title, looking pretty, and announces me. And I can't help it that Jason is big and large and gets in the way sometimes. That's not my fault. There's not enough room ringside. That's not my fault. Get a bigger space.
I can agree to a certain point there. I agree. There's not enough room
It's not.
ringside because I honestly don't see a lot of what happens when Sage is there because she stands in my way.
I see nothing of what Sage does. I don't know what you're talking about. She stands there, looks absolutely beautiful, holds my gorgeous title, and she does nothing wrong. She listens to exactly what I tell her to do. That is about it.
Right. She stands right in front of me. She stands in my way. So, I
Hey,
can't see.
hey, you kind of sit pretty far. That's your own fault. If you were a front row seat, maybe you'd see more.
I sit at the announce table.
Well, that's still not close enough. Just saying, you got like 3 rows in front of you still.
Well,
And I do sit
gotta,
front row.
I gotta
She
sit
does
where the
sit front
boss.
row. But
I gotta
I
sit
think
where the
she's a
boss
little
man
blind,
tells
so
me.
I wouldn't ask her opinion.
I gotta sit where the boss man tells me. Other than unless it's in front of a
Well,
TV
I don't
watching
think
Dragon
anybody
Ball
wants to
Z.
trip over your wires because then that's just going to cause more issues. And then then people are going to say the wires are helping Tiffany. Oh my God.
Uh, the only place I don't sit is in front of the TV watching Dragon Ball Z with the boss because he
Well,
never
wait,
watched.
where is the boss? I'm sorry. He had so much to say when he decided to try and get in my face, when he tried to ban me from ringside. I'm sorry. That didn't work well, did it? Where is he at now? Is he catching up on Dragon Ball Z like he's supposed to? Probably not.
Juan says he sits better than front row.
What? Juan does get some good footage. And see, but Juan doesn't say he saw anything wrong, so exactly. Juan, be quiet. Oh God, here's this guy in the chat. I can't even see what the comments are, and I already know it's something.
He says, "Hey Queen, you may be temptatious, but without them, you will fall just like you fall to Amara Void."
Oh Lord. This kid's just as bad as Gary.
So, hey. So, back to our matchup here that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, Amara, she has been chasing to get back to that title shot, and she didn't get her rematch until just now. So, what makes this rematch different from your first encounter? What's going to make it different?
I am your women's champion now. And I have held this, and by the time I step back in ring with her, I'll have been holding it for a whole year. Something she can't say she did. What she's doing, we're not stepping into her house. This is my kingdom. That's the difference. She's in my house, and she needs to just step aside and let me run through whoever wants to question my abilities next.
Do you feel that she could be more dangerous now that she's
Like maybe
had a
Scarlet.
I
year?
hope she's been doing something because clearly what she was doing wasn't enough, or I wouldn't have walked off with the title to begin with.
Were you going to ask something there, Susie?
I think she's a little lagging though. Up,
Okay.
see, look what you do. We can't have Gavin. We can't get proper service. I can't get proper questions because of the service. I was late.
Hey, I've been asking proper questions, thank you.
There's no M&Ms here. This
Well,
is ridiculous.
Gavin was supposed to provide you with those green M&Ms.
Oh,
you wanted.
see, this makes so much more sense why he didn't come. He didn't get the M&Ms.
So, do you feel that Amara is coming back to fight for this championship, or is she fighting for redemption from losing the championship?
Both. I know what she wants. She thinks that she has claims on this title and she don't think she won it fair and square. But after this, there will be no questions. There is no Liberty. There is no Sasaki. There is no third person involved in this match. Because I plan on making sure that nobody else is involved so there is never a question or a doubt who your queen of WDWA really is.
All right. Well, I'll give Susie a minute to catch up
Susie
there.
just took off completely. She did not want to deal with you, apparently. She's mad about the M&Ms, too.
No, I took her off to give her a minute to see if her camera will catch up there.
Uh,
Are you there? She's still lagging there, but um. So what's your biggest concern heading into this rematch? Do you have any concerns?
nope. None. I keep telling you guys, month after month, I defend this title with nothing but my all. Every time you see me face a different opponent, you witness it yourself that I don't leave anything but my all in that ring. And that's why I'm going to be walking in and out, even though Jason's going to probably have to carry me in and out with my title.
So, do you feel that with this rematch that Amara's got here, if she loses to you again, do you feel she should ever get another rematch against you again?
No, because I put the stipulations the last time. I put my all on the line to make sure I made everyone understand when I put that stipulation down that I plan to give not 100%. I plan to give 1,000% in that ring, and that's exactly why I walked off the better woman, like I told her that night.
Yeah, you did tell her that, and you put it all on the line. You said if you did not win, you would not go for that women's championship again. And you you did. You came out victorious with that. And that was actually that statement was made 1 year ago tomorrow, because your appearance on Elevation was 1 year ago tomorrow.
Yes, it was.
So, you know, your anniversary of holding that championship isn't just coming up. Your anniversary of your first appearance on our show is coming up tomorrow. So, hey. But so for 1 year now, you've had this one championship, and Amara's getting her one rematch. When the dust settles, what will be the defining headline of Tiphani Grady's title reign?
I am your greatest champion of WDWA. Not just your women's champion. I want the whole locker room of WDWA to understand what a dangerous human I really am and how far I'll go to keep this title. Look at Boss Man himself. He came out and banned me from ring and couldn't keep me from coming out. Clearly, we all see who runs it.
So, has being champion, has that become part of the identity of who Tiphani Grady is? And who is Tiphani Grady without that WDWA Women's Championship?
I told you all before, and I'm going to say it again because you got the clips. I don't need a title to define me. You all knew before I even got the title who I was. I am your queen with or without this title of WDWA.
Jared says hashtag not my queen.
Hashtag go home and worry about yourself. Man.
So you want to jump in here with the question, Susie? Now that you aren't lagging so bad. At least I don't think you are.
Oh, poor Susie. I think she is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if my lagging, my yeah, I was doing great until Tiphani came on, and now I guess she's
Hey,
hijacked
you know what? You were talking so much about me before. The service said, you know what? Go away. Service agreed. Go away.
everything. So, you know,
So you have a
Another
question?
thing that's my fault.
you're just mad because you're gonna lose that thing.
Oh, boo hoo. So, what are you going to turn on tomorrow when I walk out still with my title? Or are you going to be mad and crying like all the other fans in the front row, like the little ginger kid that sits there and wants to cry and whine? But then, as soon as I walk out every
Nope.
time with my title, he's on his hands and knees praising me.
So
I've never
See, look.
praised you. I will never praise you. So it is.
See, she's lagging still. Look at this.
So this is unusual. I mean, I'm used to being the one getting the heat, and and the people coming on not liking me. But it's different tonight.
Well, things happen.
So when you reach a full year as
It's
champion,
okay. I've had my title from my group for 2 years.
Oh, and who did she defend that against? The broom in the living room?
so when you reach a full year as
Jason
champion,
Curtis.
what
Did
does
you
that
say
accomplishment mean to you personally?
It's just proving more of what an amazing human being I am and what an amazing women's champion you all have. Doesn't it feel good to have a women's champion hold the title this long? Because look how quickly Amara lost it.
Honestly, at this point, I'm just interested and invested in seeing how long you can continue this, because I mean, there's gonna come a time that somebody will take that championship from you one way or the other. I don't know who that person may be, but I'm sure that time will
Well,
come.
clearly it's nowhere in sight, out of mind. So I'm going to still have my title and I'm going to keep rocking with it. So
So, you know, after a year on top, who do you believe is a next true threat to your championship?
nobody. What are you talking about? You are asking some really wild questions that you already know the answer to. There is not a single female that's going to walk through that door that I take as an actual threat. I took on Amara and Liberty at the same time. I've taken on the freak herself, Sasaki. It does not matter who you throw at me. I'm still walking out always as your women's champion. Did Susie fall? Pick her up. Up.
Boy, I don't know what you've done to her, but I tell you.
This is the Tiphani Grady show. That's what this is.
Well, I would ask you what you want to say to Amara, but I know you've already said a lot to Amara here tonight. But is there anything else left that you want to say to her before you actually?
You know what I do? I've missed you so much, bestie. I can't wait to break you down in a singles match so there is never a question from anybody. Gavin, you, Susie, the fans of WDWA. I am your greatest women's champion.
Well, you know, looking at the fact that you're longest reigning, it's hard to argue, that you've been a true fighting women's champion. I mean,
And
you
I'm
have
sorry, let's
been.
make the statement again since we want to talk about it with the men. Why don't we highlight it with me? I'm a 5-time women's champion. I've got 5 titles in multiple states right now.
Well, there you go. You know, and that is an accomplishment in itself. Holding 5 championships. But I gotta wonder what what are your thoughts on people having multiple championships like that? I mean, if you were to get hurt and there's 5 titles that would just be relinquished. What are your
That's such
thoughts
a
on people
bad thing to
doing that?
wish upon. That's such a bad thing to wish upon someone. Look at you.
I'm not
Not the
wishing
mean
upon it.
person. Oh my God.
I'm not wishing that you get hurt. No,
I
by no
would.
means.
You're supposed to take care of yourself, and that's why you shouldn't get hurt. That's why you train. That's why you hit the gym. That's why you do what you need to as a champion, so that you don't get hurt and you don't have to worry about those things. Because I have held this for almost a year, and all of my other titles I got right after this one. So I don't plan on having any issues. I don't care about anybody else. I don't care. This is about me. Your Temptatious one. Your WDWA Women's Champion.
So if Amara does defeat you, and I know you say that's not going to happen, but let's go to the fantasy here for a moment. If she does defeat you, what would that say about your historic title reign?
You're really aggravating me at this point. You're really, really aggravating me because I'm not going to play your little fantasy games. I'm not going to play, oh, well, what would happen if? What would happen if I just continue to keep my reign? Because that's what's going to happen. That's all that should really be important. The actual facts. We're not sitting here living in a fairy tale fantasy world. I live in reality where temptation is always taking over.
Well, that this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to ask you the questions,
I don't like your questions.
Well,
I came on here so I could deal with Gavin, and Gavin's not here, so I got lied to, and now I feel some type of way, and I don't have M&Ms, and this is just a joke. It was late. This is a joke. I'm supposed to be in bed. Women, we have beauty sleep. God, so unorganized.
hey, well, you you got to ask back on the anniversary. That's got to be mean
You're
something.
welcome. You're
And
welcome.
you got to talk to me. That's got to count for something. Come on.
Okay, but I still need to deal with Gavin because I don't know who he thinks he is getting in my face, all just because I came out of a curtain. I didn't even do nothing. All I did was stand at the end of the curtain. I was banned from ringside. I wasn't even near the ring yet. How are you going to yell at me and I wasn't even near the ring yet? That's stupid. I can't read
Really,
that, Danica.
realistically, unbiased, Tiffany really has shown up more than any other woman since she started with us.
I've ran through the whole locker room, not once, but twice. I had to do it twice. No other woman has had to work as hard as me coming into WDWA to get a chance. Every one of these other females have just walked in and gotten an opportunity or a shot at my title. That is an absolute joke.
So, I mean, it's quite obvious that you are not concerned about uh, this matchup against Amara at all, and that you are convinced that you're walking out with the title. And I mean, you
I'm
were
not
convinced that you're
convinced.
walking out.
I am very aware of who I am and what I'm capable of. And trust me, like I said, I keep an eye on all my opponents. And she is fully aware. I keep a close eye on Amara because she doesn't want to just get a grip on reality. I am not going nowhere. WDWA is my division. And like I said, step it up, ladies, if you really want any chance of getting anywhere near my title at this point.
All right. And I take it that is your message to all the women in the locker room.
All the women in the locker room and any that plan on wanting to try to get in the locker room.
All right. Well, I'm definitely looking forwards to this matchup myself, you know, and, I saw that this matchup, I actually have the poster here for it. This matchup is going to be a best 2 out of 3 falls for the women's championship. And, you know, so that adds a whole extra wrinkle in it. Um, because we're now going 3 falls. You don't have to just win once.
Nope.
You have to win twice.
Yep.
So how much more does that add to this that you
I don't
you
feel it
actually have to
adds
beat her
to
twice?
anything. This just solidifies when I walk out that there should never be another question to any of you on why I have this title. Simple.
Okay. And honestly, I don't see if you win 2 out of 3 falls, especially if you happen to win 2 back to back. I don't see how anybody can question at that point, are you deserving, or did you truly win this? Because if you beat her twice, you beat her twice. I mean, hey, how
In
can
one
you?
night.
Yeah, how can you question that? So I'm definitely going to be looking forwards to that. And how do you prepare for a best 2 out of 3? Do you prepare any differently? Does that put anything different on your mind?
I'm not giving away any of my secrets on how I prepare for things like this. Just know that Amara better bring way more than what she brought the last time she saw me. Because if that's what you bring this time around, you better not even step back in the goddamn ring.
Adam Patton said he thinks Sis Sasaki has worked harder than anybody.
And you're blind, clearly.
So, I'm definitely looking forwards to this one. It seems like the WDWA Nation is looking forwards to this one. And what can, if there's anybody that's been living under a rock, and hasn't seen Tiphani Grady, what can they expect, out of this matchup?
Pure chaos and destruction because I plan on destroying everything in my path to make sure Amara understands she's never going to get another opportunity as long as I hold this title.
All right. So I know I am definitely looking forwards to it. The nation's looking forwards to it. Any last remarks before we let you go?
I am your greatest champion of WDWA, ladies and gentlemen. Are we done now? Since we wanted to start late and I have an actual life.
Unless there's anything more you'd like to discuss, but I do
No.
appreciate your time. I
Yeah. I bet
appreciate
you
you
do.
coming
It's
on.
precious. My time is precious, so I bet you do. It's a lot of
I,
money.
I still don't understand why you won't fire Jason Curtis and hire me.
Things that we don't say on lives to get me in trouble. Leave
Okay.
Jason alone. He tried very hard in his last match. He tried very hard. It's not our fault that we got an old kooky ref and then Gavin running out of nowhere. Like, come on, I was banned from ringside. Where does Gavin come out of nowhere? And that's okay, though, right? But yet, he hasn't done what he promised the WDWA Nation. I'm just saying, I'm the bad guy, but Gavin hasn't even watched Dragon Ball yet. But y'all ain't yelling at him, though.
Hey, I've asked about it a couple times. I've even asked about it on the air.
He runs. This is why he runs. Don't let him fool you. That's why he's not here tonight. Because he knows. I know you're watching. I know you're watching. Or I know your wife's watching. Hi, Kelly. I know you're watching though. So you need to be watching Dragon Ball Z. You need to stop lying.
So, all right. Well, I will. I'll go ahead and I'll let you go get your beauty rest.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
keep you up.
I'm 22 minutes late for my beauty rest. Great. Now I'm going to be cranky tomorrow. Great. Tomorrow now you guys are going to get a cranky women's champion. Thanks.
Well, fortunately, we won't see you tomorrow. But
No, but now I'm going to make a big deal online tomorrow. Great. It's all your fault.
hey, that's okay. I've been blamed for worse. So. Thank you, Tiphani, for joining us. Congratulations on
Yeah.
360 days. I would congratulate you on the 1 year, but that hasn't happened yet. So, but
It's going to be, what am I going to do? Lose the title walking down the street? That's bad karma. I'm telling on you. Ooh, you're wishing me to lose the title walking down the street? Because I ain't going nowhere in 5 days.
you keep putting words in my mouth. That's not what I said.
Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You know what? I'm going. I'm going.
So, thank you, Tiphani. We
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
Yeah, I bet. Someone send the check in the mail.
I'll have Gavin send you some green M&Ms.
Ew, the green ones? Ew. At least make it the orange and blue.
So, thank you, Tiphani.
Yeah, yeah.
We will see you at your matchup next Saturday night.
Goodbye.
Can we
I'm
see her now?
back. Yeah, it's something about I don't know. I think Tiffany sucked up too much of my bandwidth or something.
So that was definitely
I'm going.
a good interview. That
Uh,
was definitely okay. Now I'm getting an echo. A good interview. But yeah, I enjoyed that interview. And hello, can I hear you now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay.
But yeah, that was actually a great interview. I enjoyed it, and even though it was Tiphani, I enjoyed it, and I like I said, I do look forwards to that matchup, and it should be another great show. But speaking of great shows, um, since you are the official WTP Women's Wrestling uh, analyst,
Analyst, yeah.
expert analyst, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about Wrestle Talk Podcast and what's coming up in the next week?
Hey, in the next week, we are going to. Our guest has not been locked down just yet. We are still kind of locking that in. But Wrestle Talk is going to be back next Tuesday night at 8 Central Time, or I'm sorry, 8 Eastern Time,
7 Central Time. We will have a great guest, we hope, and we're going to just do a lot of great things coming up. If you have not checked out Wrestle Talk ever, please check us out because we would love to have you there. We'd love to, we talk wrestling. We talk all kinds of wrestling. We talk um, AEW. We talk WWE. We talk New Japan Wrestling. We have some great hosts, one of which I am proud to say I have become a host. We have Ace, otherwise known as Will Bromlow, also the owner of Doomed Outfitters. If you need anything, you want t-shirts, you want title belts, you want any of that stuff, hit up Will and he will be more than happy to talk to you about that kind of thing. We also have the Night Owl, who is our producer and occasionally comes on and gives us his opinion on things. We have great segments that we do. We talk, hot topics. We talk shoot and shouts, and we just have a great time on the Wrestle Talk podcast. It's not just, it is mainly wrestling, but we've also been known to discuss a little bit of this or that. So, if you've never checked us out, please check us out next Tuesday night. And I don't think you'll be unhappy. I think you'll have a great time. John is one of our hosts as well. Him and Gabe. Will, Luke Roberts, you can see them. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I think I got a little clip here. It needs just a tad bit of updating host wise, but I think I got a clip here for the Wrestle Talk podcast that I'll play here real quick. Wrestle Talk podcast. Be sure to check us out every other Tuesday night. Start time 7:50 Eastern, 6:50 Central Time. Wrestle Talk podcast on Facebook, and also on YouTube and
Everywhere
Twitch.
you see this show, you can see the Wrestle Talk podcast.
So definitely go ahead, check us out, and we'd love to have you. So I am still looking for a fan for the night. If you want to be that fan, hit me up real quick, and I'd
So shoot
love
you the link.
to. I'd love to have you come on and join Susie and I make your picks for the women's show. So,
Come on, Eddie. You know you want to do it.
but while we talk about making picks here, um, tell them a little bit about the FWWC where they can join us and make picks there. Tell them a little bit about that.
What can I tell you? The FWWC. John and I, of course, are the current reigning defending tag team champions. I am your international champion, and I've done that for 2 years. I'm very proud to say I've held that title for 2 years. If you wish to join us, you can find us on Facebook at Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. We are there, and when we say worldwide, folks, we mean worldwide. We have a great time. We have had parties. We've gone to Kansas City a couple of times and hung out with people there. We've had watch parties. There have been bowling. There's been all kinds of neat things that we do. If you join us, what you can do is you can join the fan page first, watch us a little bit, see how things work. And then if you want to join as a wrestler, please feel free. You create your own character. We do promos. Um, we have matches, and during our matches, you get in a chat room where someone announces to you what the matches are, and you send a private message to somebody else telling them who you pick in that match. You have a match partner, and while on the page, you're writing the match back and forth, you and your partner. And if you get the higher score by the end of the night, you get to write the ending of the match. You get to do your thing in the match, and it's a lot of fun. We have a great time. We pick our winners, and we just have a real good time, and it's a real great family of friends that get together and do these things. And if you win a title, um mine isn't within reach right now, but I could show you if I did. If you win a title, we send it to you, and we want to thank Doomed Outfitters for putting them on for us. There's some really great quality. Anybody that's been in a WDWA match, you've seen mine, I'm sure. And that's what it is. You win the title, we send it to you. So it's a great time. FWWC is awesome. We want to thank Dewan Mills and Renee Martinez, who run our group. They set the standards. They make sure everybody has a good time, and we have a great time. So if you have always wanted to be a wrestler, but you don't have the ability, maybe you just can't do it. Maybe it's something physical that you can't, or maybe you can't do it because you just don't have the money to train. You can get in a ring and do in the FWWC what they do in the WWE. It's the closest thing to doing it physically. You just do it online instead, and we have a great time. Heck,
Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter, where the world's smartest wrestling fans come together to compete for real championships. Original characters, trash talking, picks during live events, pay-per-views, and even get-togethers like bowling, ice skating, and pool tournaments as well. We have members from across the globe who will stop at nothing to climb to the top of the Fantasy Wrestling Power Rankings. Simply the best fantasy wrestling group in the world. Why? Because of you, the creative and active members of the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter.
So that's the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter on Facebook. Check us out. If you join, you'll be asked some questions. Answer those questions, and then someone will reach out to you. More than likely, it'll be me, but we'll get you started in the FWWC and get you more information. Or if you want, you can just join FWWC and be a fan of the page, because we do have a lot of people who do that. They're just fans of our page, and they watch the promos that we put out. They follow the role play, and just they seem to enjoy it. And of course, our members really enjoy it as well. So check us out. But let's go ahead and move on here real quick. We're running a little bit over from what we normally try to get to, but so I haven't been able to secure a fan. I've sent out several messages, and no one has taken us up on it. So I guess it's just going to be you and me. But that's okay, because we'll still run through these matches here, and we'll make our picks, and we will have so the next show, Broken Barriers. It's the all women's wrestling show. Be the 13th at South Berkeley Fire Hall. Definitely want to be there. A lot of action on the card that you're not going to want to miss. And of course, it's sponsored by the Parsons family. PSCI, GFX Design, and the Wrestle Talk podcast. So be sure to be there. Check it out. Check out all those great, wonderful sponsors. If you got any questions about those sponsors, you know, hit up the one and only Gavin Jackson. He'll be more than happy to talk with you about it. But so much great action on the card. I absolutely love these women's shows. You get to see some new talent sometimes. You get to see talent that we don't see very often because he just, you know, the women's division is such a large division, but he can't bring them all in. And so this is an opportunity for him to bring a chunk of them in at one time so that we can see them. And so we're going to start off by talking about a match that was announced earlier today. It's a triple threat match. Some of these names you may recognize, some of them either haven't been there a lot, so you may not recognize it, or this could be their first time. But we're going to see Emily Saxton versus Becca Wiley versus Maya Martinez. Um, this looks like it's going to be a great matchup. I know Maya Martinez has been at WDWA before. And the other names are very familiar, so I believe they may have been there. I'm not going to say I'm 100% on that. But, definitely looking forwards to this matchup. And I think it's going to be one heck of a matchup to watch. So your thoughts on that, Susie, if if you're familiar with any of them or
I'm
what
not real
you
sure.
think?
I'm not real sure that I'm familiar with very many of these ladies at all. Um, but I believe the name was Maya. I think I've seen her there before. I'm not 100% sure, but Martinez, yeah, I'm kind of thinking that maybe she, like I said, I think I've seen her there before. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think I would go with her right now because she kind of looks to me like she's kind of tough and like the other ladies may not stand much of a chance against her.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm gonna go with her as well, and mainly because I'm more familiar with her than I am the others. Um, but definitely going to be a matchup to watch. Then we're going to see Ashton Nicole versus Black Jade. Um, this one there again looks to be another matchup that is going to be a heck of a matchup to watch. All these women put on one heck of a show when they are there. And, you know, personally, I can't wait to see it. And Donnie laying in the hospital bed there, he is actually throwing out pics in the comments. So I tell you what, you keep throwing them out like that, Donnie, and we'll count yours too. And Donnie's agreeing with us on the first match. And the second match, he's picking Jade. So, and honestly, I think I'm going to have to go with Jade too. I mean, as tough as she looks, I don't think Ashton Nicole's going to be a pushover or anything, but Jade just looks like somebody you don't want to mess with. I definitely wouldn't want to meet her on a dark alley. What's your thoughts, Susie?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with either of these either, but I think if I was gonna have to go with one, I think Jade looks to me like she might be able to take this one. Nicole looks like she's a tough girl herself, but I just think that Jade looks to me like she's maybe gonna take this one. So
All
and if
right.
Donnie says it's Jade, then I kind of trust him on this one.
Are
And
you sure you want You sure you want to trust Donnie, the one that only got uh, 4 right last show?
Well, even a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while, so you know, even Donnie can get something right once in a blue moon. But you said a minute ago, you like these women's matches, and it's to me this is a really cool thing because as a female myself, who is I don't know if you want to say, yeah, a lot of people say it's a fantasy group, but as somebody who is part of the Wrestle Talk podcast, somebody who's a part of the FWWC, one of the cool things that I really really like is to see some of the women shine. And to me, that is always a cool thing. So it's always good to see these women shows so that the women get a spotlight once in a while. The guys are always, always a part of a show, and most always, the men get to be in the spotlight. So it's great once in a while. Excuse me. Oh, it's great once in a while to see the women get a spotlight. So I really do think that these matches are a really great thing when it's an all women's show.
And Linda, if you want to throw your picks out there in the comments too, I'll go ahead and I'll keep track of yours as well, and we can see how you do. If you want, you can go ahead and throw out your pick for the first match as well that we discussed. Um, which was the triple threat match: Emily Sexton versus Becca Wiley and Maya Martinez. So if you want to throw out a pick for that one, I'll be more than happy to track your picks as well. So, feel free to throw them out there. So our next matchup we're going to talk about is Juliet, who I know has been at WDWA at least once, if not more. I believe she's been there at least twice. Um, and she'll be facing Lady Glory. You know, we know so much about Lady Glory. She can be a force to be reckoned with, and
Oh,
you never know if she's around. Is UCK going to be around with her? I don't know. Even though it's an all women's show, I don't put anything past them. So, you know, uh, who's your thoughts on that one?
I think that even I underestimate Lady Glory. Lady Glory is, I give her a lot of grief when I'm ringside and I get close enough to her, but she really, she really does surprise me sometimes. She does a lot of great work in the ring. She seems to do, you know, some good stuff. Um, I mean, she's even been known, I think, to pin Clay. Not that it was really and truly her who did it, but I got to give Lady Glory this one. I really do. Um, as much as I hate to say it, but like I said, she is a great talent, and I think that she's going to be somebody to contend with at WDWA. I just wish she had a better attitude, but you got to give credit where credit's due.
All right, so you're going with Lady Glory. And, I'm actually going to have to make this the third match in a row that we all picking the same. I'm going with Lady Glory. You know, she actually is very tough, as I've said before, and I just can't help but think about, is UCK going to be somewhere close by, and if so, will they be a factor? So I'm going to have to go with Lady Glory on this one.
As
So
much as
once
I would,
again,
as much as I hate to say it, um, Lady Glory, like I said, is a good talent, and I think that she could do this without UCK. I think if she told the two guys to stay in the back, like I said earlier about Tiffany, I'd have a lot more respect for her if she did it on her own and didn't need those guys to do it. I think she's got the talent to do it on her own, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But I do believe that UCK is probably going to be there.
our next matchup is Katie Bright, who we have seen before. We've seen her, I know, in a 6-woman tag match. The same one that we saw Gabby Gilbert um, turn on her team. You know, we saw her in that matchup. So Katie Bright, it will be returning to WDWA, and she'll be facing Rebecca Blade, a competitor that honestly, I see where she has a lot of talent. I see where she's really good in that ring and she's really a tough competitor. But no matter what she's done, she has fallen short of coming up with a victory in WDWA so far. She hasn't had much luck. And I think she's really a lot more talented than, you know, what she gets credit for. And I think she is struggling to get that win so much. And she's so headstrong that she wants that win. I don't know if that's going to play in her mind and possibly play against her. But I'm, you know, I have taken Blade several times, and Blade has let me down every time I've taken her. But I'm sticking with Blade. She's got to get a victory sooner or later, you know. So I'm picking Rebecca Blade once again. She is going to break that winless streak, and she will get a W.
I think I'm going to go with you too. I've seen Blade, and you can't always lose. Sooner or later, even like I said earlier, even a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while. So, I got to think that Blade is going to do this. She's going to pull it out sooner or later. And, I think she has the talent to become a contender. It's just a matter of getting herself to the point where she can be a contender and not mess things up. So I think that maybe for once, I think she's going to have everything she needs to actually take the win this time.
So, and Linda says she's taking Blade. Donnie says he's taking Blade. So once again, it is a clean sweep on Blade, who actually says she's got to win. It's Pride Month. And, you know, Rebecca, I wish you the best. Like I say, I've picked you several times and you've let me down. We got a clean sweep here. We all have the confidence that you can do this. Let's see you get a win. Come on. You can do it. And
I got you, Blade.
I look forward to seeing Rebecca get that first W, you know. So our next match is going to be Zenith Zion, who we have seen before, versus Vanilla Vargas. All these matches are such great matches, and I just love to see the talent of this women's roster, because they put on such a great show. A lot of people, when they think of women's wrestling, they think of slap and tickle. They think that's all these girls do. No, they really do beat the hell out of each other. And these two women are going to be no exception. They are going to be strong, and they're going to be a match worth watching. So, what's your thoughts on this matchup?
I think I'm going to go with Zenith. I think Zenith can take this one. As you said, we've seen her before, and she is a great talent. And so I really think Zenith has got this one.
All right. So you're going with Zenith. And Donnie is also saying Zenith. And, like I say, I think this is going to be a great matchup. And both of these girls are so strong. And yeah, I might as well just keep it going with Zenith. You know, I I think she'll come out victorious in this one, but um, it's definitely going to be one heck of a matchup. And once again, we're going to be completely unanimous with Zenith. Could this be the first night that we all pick the same no matter what? I tell you, this this seems to be the theme going on here. But our next matchup is going to be Liberty L and Sis Sasaki versus the Riot Act. Now we've seen the Riot Act. I believe it was a few shows ago they were there. They are a heck of a tag team, and they know each other so well and just work so well together. And then you've got Liberty L and Sis Sasaki, two great competitors, and I believe they both may know each other, but will they be on the same page? How cohesive can they be together? That's going to be the question. And honestly, I'm not sure that Sis Sasaki has had the best of luck when she's been tag teaming with people for the most part. She I know she's had a few that have gone her way, but I think for the most part, when she's in a team with somebody, it just doesn't seem to work for her very well. Um, so I think I'm going with the Riot Act on this one.
Well, I think this is where you and I are going to disagree, because I think two of WDWA's most dominant females, two of the best women in the WDWA, are Liberty L and Sis Sasaki. And the last time out, Liberty didn't fare so well in her match. And I just don't think she's going to let another match go by where that happens. So I got to go with Liberty L, and I've got to go with Sis, because Sis is, she's tough. She's very tough, and I just think that I just can see the two of them pulling it out.
All right. So, hey, Donnie, which one are you going with? I know you said, what if Angel's there with the Riot Act, and very well could be. So which one are you picking? Are you going to make it a 50-50 split, or am I on the island? Oh, he says he's going with the Riot Act just because he doesn't think Liberty and Sis can work together. And that's something I said. I don't know how well those two will be together. And so it's definitely going to be an issue, I believe. So Donnie is right on board with me on this one. So we got a 50-50 split going here on that one. Liberty L and the Riot Act. We'll see. So next up, we have and by the way, the Riot Act is going to be sponsored by BW Bentley Wright. That's we want to throw that out there. We thank you for your sponsorship, and anybody can sponsor a wrestler. They can sponsor a match. They can sponsor the whole event. Just get with Gavin Jackson. He's got all the information for you on that. And, we'd love to see your name on that sponsorship list. But then we're going to talk about. Did I hit them? I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything here. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about our main event. It is a 2 out of 3 falls match for the women's championship, where we're going to see Amara Void get her rematch from 1 year ago against our champion, Tiphani Grady, who has held that title for 360 days. You know, as she pointed out, it's going to be 370 something. You know? She had the exact number, but you know, I'm sure she's counting, and I'm not really. But you know, she will be our champion for 370 plus days when this match happens. So she is going to surpass 1 year. And, you know, when she originally won it, she pointed out it was before Jason Curtis. Jason Curtis was not her bodyguard at that point. She did not have Sage Santiago. Um, so definitely a different dynamic with Jason Curtis there. And 2 out of 3 falls, you know, I'm not sure which woman is going to come out beating the other one twice in one night. It's definitely going to be a hard fought matchup. But you know what? I love Amara. She's great. I'd love to see her take that title back. But as confident as Tiphani is, and yes, I'm sure you're going to go back and watch to see what we say about you at this point, but Tiphani, I'm going with you. I think Tiphani Grady will retain that championship. She is not done by any means. And it's going to be interesting to see how long she holds that championship. So I am going with Grady to retain.
Well, I don't know about Donnie and Linda, but I think I'm going with Amara because I think, Amara is back with a vengeance. I think she really, really wants that title back. And I think that if Paige and Jason Curtis are not ringside, or if Amara has somebody watching her back to keep those two at bay a bit, I think that Amara can take this one. So I'd like to see Amara take this back.
So, and Donnie is with me with Tiphani Grady. He thinks that the Queen will retain, and Linda is with you. She thinks Amara is going to win it. So, you know, once again, we got another 50-50 split, and it's going to be a heck of a matchup, irregardless who wins it. But, oh, I can't wait. You know, once again, Broken Barriers, all women's wrestling show, the 13th, so next Saturday night, and South Berkeley Fire Hall. Be sure to, to reserve your seats. Let Gavin know if you're coming. It's going to be a great show. You're not going to want to miss it. And just definitely looking forwards to it. You know, but, it has been another great episode here on Wrestle Talk Podcast and on WDWA. Another great episode of Elevation. I am so happy that WDWA and Wrestle Talk has this partnership, and want to thank both Wrestle Talk Podcast and Gavin for giving us this platform. It's been great, and I completely enjoy doing the show. Hopefully, you guys enjoy tuning in, and you know, just keep tuning in for us. Keep going out to your independent promotions. If you'll pay for those big tickets at WWE, or taking, the prices at AEW, you'll go to those shows. They cost more. The entertainment is just as good, if not better, at your independent shows. So be sure to check those out. And, this is episode 26. And thank you for joining us for episode 26, Susie. We really appreciate it. Any last words there that you'd like to say before we get out of here?
Just my pleasure being here tonight. Anytime I can fill in and help out, let me know. And, to the WDWA fandom, see you guys next Saturday.
All right. Next Saturday night, South Berkeley Fire Hall. Make sure you're there. Don't miss it. And thanks for tuning in. And we will see you in 2 weeks right here for another great episode of Elevation. And we will see you at the show. Have a good night.